The Stranger on the Road. My wife and I were walking back home one night. We were at a gathering at the neighbor's house. Our house is in the country. It was just a dirt road, with trees on each side. And we've done this walk many times. But this one evening we were walking holding hands. And we noticed this man walking towards us. Still holding hands, we got closer and closer to him. Our heads were down, looking at the ground. But you knew roughly where he would be. When we reached the point where he would walk between us, we separated our hands and let go to let him pass. The thing was, no one ever went between us. Surprised, we looked up, but no one but us was on the road. Lights on the beach. My buddy and I go metal detecting. It's something we both enjoy doing. We were on a beach one night, standing by my car, getting ready to put our detectors back in the trunk. We noticed these two lights traveling across the night sky. At first, we thought they were airplanes, since there was an airport not far from where we were. But their lights weren't flashing. They were solid. And these two lights were traveling at the exact same distance apart, without one getting ahead of the other or another falling back. And the strangest part was they were making no noise. We watched the two lights fly right in front of us over the beach. At one point, I decided to take a photo of the lights. We then decided to get into my car and follow the lights as far as we could. We followed the lights along the shoreline until they finally drifted off into the night sky, and we just chalked it up as a strange sighting of maybe military aircraft. It was a few months later that we were talking about that evening one night, and I remembered I had taken a photo of the lights. I brought the photo up on my phone and zoomed in. To our surprise, we saw two perfectly illuminated disc-like objects flying together in the night sky. The 5 a.m. security button. Years ago, I worked in a building as a night watchman. The building was constructed on top of an old spot where a hotel had burned years before, killing many people. I was working the night shift. Now, I'm not a believer in ghosts, never have and never will be. But this is my story, and this is what happened to me. It was a night like any other. I had been up all day, and when I went into work that night, there was nothing strange. The building made the same old creaks and groans and sounds and noises it had always made. There was nothing strange going on at this point. I would be making my rounds throughout the building. I knew where all the punches were. And I wouldn't turn on all the lights to get them. But this one night, I was down in the boiler room in the basement of the building, where we always had to be, because there was a light on the wall that was connected to the police station. And there was a button underneath that light that had to be pressed every hour on the hour, or it would set off an alarm and notify the police that there was something wrong. It was for our own protection. The bell would ring for 5 minutes if you did not push the button on the hour, notifying you that the alarm was about to go off. If you didn't push the button in that time, the alarm would notify the police. On this particular night, I was very tired. It was 2 a.m. I pushed the button, and the reset alarm for another hour. I went into the boiler room. There was a little office there, and I lied down on top of a desk, and I went to sleep, knowing that the bell would ring at 3 a.m., and I would get up and make my rounds. And sure enough, the alarm went off, and I woke up and jumped off the desk. Now at the desk there was an old wooden chair. I woke up and turned around and leaped off the desk to go reset the alarm. When I turned around, there was a person sitting in the chair, which I saw but did not register. Grabbing my punch clock, I headed up the elevator, and I was halfway across the main floor of where I was going to do my rounds when I realized there was someone sitting in that chair, watching me while I was sleeping. A cold chill came over my body. The idea that there was someone else in the building, because I was the only one who was supposed to be in the building, and I had all the keys to the doors. I immediately started telling myself that it must have been my imagination, and I went back to work, making my rounds. When I returned to the basement, my heart was beating fast, that there really might be someone else in this building. But after a thorough check, I was sure there was nobody but me inside this building. I then laid back down on the desk and fell asleep, and chalked it all up to my imagination. The 4 a.m. alarm went off, and I woke up. But this time, I didn't jump to my feet. I turned my head slowly towards the chair. Out of my peripheral vision, I discovered a man sitting in the wooden chair, with his legs crossed, and with no facial features or even hands showing. He was in a black suit, open-breasted, revealing a black vest and a white shirt. I could see him sitting in the chair, with his white cufflinks, but no hands. Just a suit, with no body. I watched him for about 3 seconds. Then I turned my head completely towards him to see him front full vision. But he faded away before I could see him. I got up, did my rounds, and returned to the basement and laid back down on the desk and fell asleep. And I was woken by the 6 a.m. alarm. When I went to push the button, I realized it was 6 a.m. I thought it should be 5 a.m., but I had slept through that 5 a.m. alarm. This means that someone had to have pushed the security button at 5 a.m., or the police would have showed up. No one ever showed up. And on my time card, inside my time clock, that we would carry around, and at each spot we would take a key and put it into our time clock and turn it. And on this little cardboard disc inside my time clock, at every hour, it would punch a little hole at what time you were there. They had all been punched for 5 a.m. But I know I didn't make that round.